The 886th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code MMA SGPN.
Howdy ho, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 886 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to another one of our Spotify friends, Aaron Heath, who says, Gumby, you are the GOAT. At least 2 months ago, Gumby was the GOAT. I'll be Danny Gumby, really my co-host. I am what is my name again? The Berserker, Jeff Fox. We're also known as the Yuck Boys. I've coined us that. Yeah, that's what I've decided, because we are we've been called Yuck. This is the most wonderful time of the year. I won't sing, but it's the most wonderful time of the year. And this is one of the reasons why Gumby is the GOAT. It's Dana White Contender Series season. Gumby's built himself a Dana White Contender Series reputation. Maybe you want to remind the people of your amazing run. I know not every season has been a home run, but you've got a track record here.
Yeah, I don't remember what year it was even anymore, because now we've been doing these for so long. Yeah. But like Contender Series is where we like found most of our following for this show. Mm-hmm. I want to say I completely botched week 1 week. It was 1 and 4 or something like that.
Yep.
And then I think I missed exactly one.
Yep.
And every other. And it wasn't always 4 and 1, because I think 1 week it was 3 and 1, and 1 week it was 5 and 1 because a fight got pushed or something like that. But we went like 4 and 1 basically 4 and 1 from there on out. So after going 1 and 4, 2 and 3 in the first week or something like that, we finished 36 and 9. So pretty much regardless of what the odds look like at that point, we were cashing. And like the other big thing for us on Contender Series, and this is an advertisement for a Discord more than anything, is like, get in the Discord, because while we're dropping this episode here on Thursday, we're a few days away, but we wanted to get the information out early and stuff like that. We don't have odds, but like the odds will drop, the props will drop. And like, I think that's where the best money is too on Contender Series, is like, there's good, like manageable prop lines here, which is where we get the, what are the guys in the Discord called? The predatory parlay at the end of the
show. It's not just fun to watch and winning lots of money, but we also get Yanni and the predatory parlays.
Maybe we'll do that as a YouTube short or something like that. We'll do the pregame predatory parlay. So what would we do for a predatory parlay if it like actually we had to predict it?
Yep, it is predatory parlay season for sure. So yeah, we got 10 weeks of this. I sound like I'm not excited, but I am. 10 weeks is bit of a bummer that the books are being cowards this year, Gumby.
Yeah, they're cowards right now.
Except for our sponsors, they're not cowards. They just haven't posted odds yet. I think they're probably waiting to see what Gumby thinks. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like we've joked before that it seems like the odds for a lot of regional shows drop right after our shows for them. I don't have any insight into the way that they drop odds. It does seem like a coincidence that it continues to happen. I don't really think that highly of myself to believe that that's true, but
Contender Series, you should though. That's the thing.
Contender Series, we've tended to be hot. Although this season, I think, a little preview, because I'm sure you were going to ask me at some point. Yep. I think this season is going to be harder to predict. They're doing a better job of snatching up like the actual best talent around. Like for years, it sort of felt like a lot of fights had an A and a B side, and you sort of had to pick and choose where you could find an underdog spot. Like this one, it feels like you can go all the way up and down the card and you're like, who is supposed to be the favorite here? And that's just, it's like good matchmaking. They're actually trying to figure out who belongs in the UFC and who can fight their way in. So that I think that makes it better.
Let's find out who belongs in the UFC. After I remind you that the Sports Gambling Podcast is back with their 32 NFL team previews. They're also bringing back the phrase that pays. Each episode, they'll give out one word of a 32-word phrase. Submit the phrase for a chance to win a $1,000 Circa future. And if you haven't watched the Dallas Cowboy episode yet, make sure you do, because your boy Gumby Vreeland is on it. All right, Dana White Contender Series 2025 Week 1 going down on this coming Tuesday, 8 p.m. start time, ESPN Plus. 5 fights as per usual. Quick and easy, in and out. overall thoughts on this week's the inaugural kickoff. A lot of bantamweights, as we said off air here.
Yeah, and some people we've seen before too, right? Like we got Talha again, we got Panferov again, we got Ewert, who sort of was already in the UFC, but not really. We've broken down Bouafia a bunch of times. We've broken down Ty Miller and Jimmy Drago before. So like a lot of guys familiar to our show, if you're fans. And then like, there's a really good Instagram account called MMA Prospects. It's one of the places where I like get informed on some of the prospects. And last year they named Radley de Silva their prospect of the year. So to see him on there and fighting George Mangos, who was probably like in the contention for that last year anyway, certainly, really fun fighters. I am bummed that we're not seeing Baba Yaga in here. For those of you who don't know, Damian Pinache was originally scheduled here to fight Murtaza Talha, and apparently his visa from Brazil to the U.S. did not come through. So he has been promised by the UFC that they will give him some sort of shot at some point in time, either on a later episode or, some other way. But we're going to have to wait and see what that looks like.
Yep. All right. Let's dive into it with the aforementioned Talha, Murtaza Talha. He's from Bahrain. Baysangur Susurkaev is his last-minute opponent here. He's from Russia. They are fighting at 185 because 3 out of the 5 fights here are 185. As I said off air to Gumby as well, they need future Apex main eventers. So that's why it's a whole bunch of middleweights here. As per usual, not as per usual, because usually we have odds. Gumby will tell you his guesstimate of the odds. I used to make Gumby tell us who we think is going to get a contract, but Dana pretty much gives everyone contracts this way because they're cheap labor. So we don't have to worry about that. Maybe we can talk about who's the most exciting prospect at the end of the show. But let's break it down by talking about Talha first. He's 7-1, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once, so he owes his rounds. Damn it. TKO win in his last bout. 0-1 in Contender Series. Who did you lose to, Gumby?
Adolfo Belletto.
Yes. Used to fight at 205 for Talha. Susurkaev, 8-0 with 7 knockouts. Short notice, stepping in here in less than a week. TKO. No, actually, I guess by the time he fights,
probably a week. Yeah,
about a week. Yep. TKO win in his last bout. 5 years younger than Talha. Not much more info I have for Susurkaev. That's it.
So this one's tricky for me because, again, Susurkaev is going to be taking this fight on about a week's notice. That's obviously, a little bit of an alarm bell for the odds makers. But also Talha looked like, I thought, pretty damn bad in his fight on Contender Series against Belletto. And not only did he look bad in that fight, but then, like, his only fight since then, he fought a guy over in one of the Eastern European promotions, and Tapology has it flagged for possible legitimacy issues. The guy was 0-4 and got knocked out like almost immediately. So like, what does that tell us about like what Taha's been doing? And so, with being as bad as he's looked and not really had anything to work with, 8-0 opponent, the short notice thing might not matter. I'm going to say this is going to come in pretty even. Maybe pick him. Maybe slight edge to Susurkaev for the undefeated record and the fact that it's an EV name. So how the books tend to favor those guys. And I'm going to go with Baysangur Susurkaev. The reason I like him, totally not what you expect with the EV last name, but like hands really low, crazy showboaty. Zemo KC in our Discord was talking about how much he likes him, and it's like he is fun as hell to watch. You kind of wonder if that's ever going to cost him the way that he fights, but like not just hands low, but he's doing like the Muhammad Ali, like winding up his hand before he punches and stuff. Like it's like real funny. And then on Talha's side, part of the reason why I think he can beat Talha with that is the hands low is good for defending takedowns. And really what Talha needs is takedowns because, he tried a couple against Belletto. They didn't work out. He had to box with him. He wasn't ready to box with him. And like, that's kind of how I feel about Talha. I was like, if he can't land those takedowns, he's going to struggle in this fight or in any fight. And in addition to that too, like when he fails on takedowns, he's exhausted. He looks so tired entering that second round with Belletto. There was no doubt in my mind he was about to lose that fight when the second round started. And then on top of that, too, he's going down a weight class here. He fought Belletto up at 205. Now you're going to suck another 20 pounds out of this guy and tell me his cardio is going to get better? I don't buy it, right? Like, I think the cardio will be worse. So as long as Susurkaev stuffs a couple of takedowns here, he should win. For those of you who've seen his takedown defense game, you might be a little alarmed by that statement because, I've seen him in the clinch and sometimes he doesn't do the right thing. And sometimes he does get like, his legs too close together and people are trying to take him down, but he does have really great scrambling, really good whizzers, really great scrambling. He's really powerful. I think all of those things are good enough. And then when you combine it with the fact that he's got the low hands in like the better, longer boxing, I think Talha is going to have a really tough time getting close to him. And 2 on the feet too, just for one more note on Talha and why I don't trust him. He seems to only be comfortable striking when he's in a collar tie. He throws this like long overhand that like is probably more about getting into the clinch and trying to take somebody down than it is actually about landing. I don't think he's got anything for Susurkaev on the feet. So as long as it's on the feet, give me Susurkaev.
All right. Susurkaev is a pick, as is he the pick for 91% of Tapology's Gumby.
Wow. Tapology's got Susurkaev at 90. Yep. I wonder if that's just, that's got to be fresh, right? Because he's a recent addition to this card. So like there's probably not too many votes on that yet. So I'd be surprised if it stayed that high.
Yeah, we shall see. It doesn't really matter. We wouldn't care what the official odds say when they drop. All right, before we get you more winning plays, let me tell you about Underdog Best Ball Mania. It's happening right now, all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog also is a great place to play Pick'em, where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Gummy's got a winning play for you, I bet, right now.
Sure, we're still on Thursday here because you guys are getting 2 episodes here on Thursday. The Braves playing the Marlins in the first game of their series tonight, 7 o'clock. We're going to take the higher on Yuri Perez's strikeouts. He's been hovering right around 5 or 6 pretty much for the last 5 or 6 games. And the Braves striking out a lot right now. No Acuna, no Austin Riley. They got Eli White leading off inexplicably. So I think Yuri Perez is going to easily get to that 6 mark. And right now, Underdog's got him at 5.5. So we'll take the higher then on Yuri Perez's strikeouts.
Gummy's going to give you a strikeout play. That's how Gummy rolls. And I'm going to give you our code MMA SGPN. Use that when you sign up at Underdog Fantasy. That way you get to claim a special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. So underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including MLB, WNBA, golf, and of course, football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. They have easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Check out all the very, very soon, maybe by the time you hear this, Dana White Contender Series lines over at MyBookie. And when you do head to mybookie.ag, enter our promo code MMA SGPN. That way you get 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMA SGPN. All right, we're up to, we're staying with 185 because that's how they roll. Christopher Ewert, he is from Chile. Yuri Panferov, he is from Russia. Let's break her down by telling you about Panferov first. The Russian polar bear, 8-1, 3 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been submitted once. You owe us round, sir. 0-1 in Contender Series because he lost to
Therese Finney.
Correct.
One of the first of 3 Therese Finney fights.
One of his 3 victims on Contender Series. Panferov has won 2 straight since then, both via TKO. He's fed at 205 and 215. 1-0-2 as a pro grappler, 3 years younger than Ewert. Ewert is El Tanque. 7-0, 5 knockouts. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Use fed at 170, 3 inches of reach over Panferov.
So for this one, I wrote down Panferov plus 185. And that's the side I'm on here. I'm going to go underdog here on Yuri Panferov. And I think the big reason for me is, so Panferov, first of all, is kind of hard to handicap. One of the reasons why is like, you can find maybe half a dozen of his recent fights, including the fight with Therese Finney. And you might be able to compile a whole minute of him striking, which is crazy. Because he is just on takedowns so fast in fights. And, like I've seen a little bit of it. It looks slow, but I don't know if it looks slow because he's not trying to actually strike and he's just trying to get close for a takedown, or if it's slow because he's slow. Like, I don't know. And like, even in the Therese Finney fight, like, I mean, he threw elbows to the side of Finney's head, but apart from that, it was just like Therese Finney trying to drown him the whole time and like eventually succeeding. And I don't know how much to weigh in that, right? Because like Therese Finney is an exceptional grappler. We've seen it time and time again. As boring as he tends to be, he's really good at pinning you against the cage and taking you down and holding you there. And so like, I don't want to put too much on Panferov for that, but also I don't want to put too much on Panferov's skills for all the great takedowns he hit and submissions and TKOs from ground and pound, because like really his regional record, when you look at the fighters, is not all that impressive either. Now, Ewert has beaten some guys who are a little bit more respectable, and he's got a better looking record, which is why I think he's going to be a favorite here. You know, he beat Baby Goose. What's Baby Goose's real name? Reese Watkins. Reese Watkins. Yeah, he beat Reese Watkins in his last fight, which is a big win. But in that fight, one of the things I noticed about Ewert is like his head doesn't really move when he strikes. He like really stationary target to be hit, and maybe that's helpful for a guy like Panferov, who's like not much of a striker. And then if you want to go a fight before the Reese Watkins one, he fought this guy named Aaron Chambers. I went back and rewatched that fight, and I watched it right before Ewert was supposed to fight Jackson McVeigh when he inexplicably showed up like 12 pounds too heavy. In that fight with Aaron Chambers, he gets taken down really easily, like very, very, very easily. And then the weirdest thing is he flops around like a dead fish on the ground. And I mean that somewhat derogatorily, but like not entirely, but like he basically, instead of settling into guard or settling into a half guard and then like working his way back up, he just like rolls a whole bunch of times. And one time it gives up his back and Chambers winds up in his back. And then again, instead of like, you know, catching the foot or bumping and running or doing something like that, he rolls again and is just like on bottom full mount. And like, I don't think Aaron Chambers is even 1/8 of the grappler Panferov is. So like, if Panferov can just get in on a takedown on Ewert, like he might not be the better striker here, but like, I think people are discounting how good of a grappler he is because of the loss to Therese Finney. So give me Yuri Panferov here, hopefully as an underdog.
All right. Panferov, he's a slight dog according to Tapologists, 31%.
Okay, so maybe I said plus 185, maybe like that sounds to me more like a plus 165, plus 150, but like I'd take it there too.
Yep. All right, we got America versus America next.
I love this fight. This is the best fight of the night.
Oh yeah, okay, good.
It's good.
Jimmy Drago.
Nope. Drago.
Drago. Yes,
it's very important that it's Drago.
Oh.
I talked to Jimmy. He basically has not corrected people for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Because he's like, what's the point? And he's like, now that I'm in the UFC, I would very much appreciate it if we went with Drago.
All right, Drago it is. Ty Miller is who he's fighting. They're fighting at welterweights. I thought I had the wrong fight, but no, I just had the name wrong. I thought it was a simple name. It is not. I'll tell you about Miller first. 5-0 with 1 no contest. He's got 2 knockouts. No contest came in his very last bout. 1-0, 1 no contest in the LFA. He's fight at 180. 1-0 is a pro boxer, 5 years younger than Drago, 3 inches taller. Drago, 7-2 with 1 no contest, 4 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 3-1 with 1 no contest over his last 5. He got a no contest in his last fight as well. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. All right. Tell us the odds. Tell us who's going to win. Tell us why this is the best fight on the card.
Yeah. So first of all, I think this is probably going to be a pick'em. They got similar records. Granted, one's got a little bit more experience. One's got a few less losses. Both of them are coming off a weird no contest where they looked really good, except for Ty Miller stuck his fingers out and scraped his opponent's eyeball. Jimmy Drago waded in and they had a headbutt that cut his opponent open and they got a no contest. So they're both coming off a no contest. So it's a fun fight for those reasons. I'm going to go, you know, the reason I said it's the best fight of the night, it's like I said, probably a pick 'em here. I'm going to go Jimmy Drago. I'm going to take the experience here. He's a guy who, first of all, I like his style of striking better. Ty Miller being a little bit longer, I think has made him a little complacent in his striking, meaning like he doesn't feel like he has to move. He doesn't feel like he's got to get out of the way. I think he's just used to being able to snipe. And as a result, he's gotten his leg kicked pretty heavily in a couple of his past recent fights. Jimmy Drago, exceptionally fast leg kicks and exceptionally fast kicks to all levels too. He'll go up top and in the middle with them too. So I like that. And then Drago being a little bit shorter, I think he's a little bit more diverse when it comes to how he lands his strikes and how he defends himself. Like you'll see, he's got a really nice lead left hook. And the best part about it is because he's a little bit shorter, he's always got his right hand right up on his chin, ready to defend it. Whereas like for Ty Miller, you see a little bit more of that like long, straight right hand from the rear side. And when he does, it's like the other hand flies open a little bit. He's open to be countered in those situations. So like, again, like the height is nice for Ty Miller, but I think it's also maybe gotten him into some bad situations. And then in addition to that too, like, Drago closes distance well. He is one of those guys who changes stances as he comes in and wades in, and he's kind of got sneaky good wrestling. He's a guy who comes from, he's a Cerro Longo guy, right? Am I remembering that right?
For Drago.
Yeah, I know Ty Miller has fit in HB down in New Mexico with like Tim Means. That's actually a great corollary too. Like Ty Miller is like Tim Means. He's welterweight and he's lanky and he's kind of hittable. And like somebody who can wrestle can probably wrestle him. You know what I mean? So that's a good way to think about Ty Miller. But yeah, so Jimmy Drago, I don't remember.
Not Sarah Longo, actually. Animals MMA.
Interesting. I wonder if he cross trains with those guys.
Maybe.
But I know he's from that area. I know he's like
a
Long Island kind of guy. Yep. He's definitely got the Long Island accent. So, but he's a guy who will get in on like surprisingly good takedowns after having mostly a striking match. I think we got to be a little bit wary at expecting him to do that on Contender Series because I think he's way more likely to bang it out, being that he's trying to impress the boss. But even if that winds up being the case and he doesn't lean on his grappling a little bit, like I think he can do, like just shooting once would probably keep Ty Miller a little bit more at bay. But even if he doesn't, I think Miller's too stationary. I think the leg kicks are going to be a big piece of the game plan here. And I think Jimmy Drago is just going to be a little too fast for him. So give me Jimmy Drago.
All right. Jimmy Drago is yours. All right. Before we move on, let me tell you about Circa Million and Circa Survivor. The world's greatest sports book, Circa Las Vegas, is hosting the world's biggest pro football contest. That would be the Circa Million, Circa Survivor, and Circa Grandissimo, with over $21 million in guaranteed prizes. You can't call yourself a true degen if you're not competing in the Circa football contests. Come hang out with SGPN at the Circa contest weekend, which is August 21st to 23rd, for an amazing weekend, including live shows and open bars. Plus, you get 15% off a stay at the Circa with promo code SGP15. Contests are open to everyone. Sign up in Nevada and play from anywhere with the help of SGPN's official proxy. Go to footballcontest.com and use promo code SGP to get $50 off your proxy fees. And Rhythm, RITHMM. Rhythm's power trends are now called Smart Signals. Rhythm continues to crush it with Smart Signals. Essentially, it's the best of what their house model has to offer. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Smart Signals are updated daily, exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. The MLB Smart Signals are crushing it. Mike Trout and Giancarlo Stanton are combined 14-0 on Smart Signals, recommending their unders. And WNBA Smart Signals since the All-Star break, 27-16 on Smart Signals with a 23.3% ROI. They're absolutely cooking. So download the Rhythm app, check out Smart Signals, and start betting smarter. We will be. Gumby is always finding gems on Smart Signals, right?
Yeah. They just recommended their algorithm there just recommended on Thursday night Camila Cardoso, the higher than on her rebounds. Angel Reese not playing,
right?
10.5 rebounds for Cardoso. She's been over it 4 of the last 6 games, and a bunch of those had Reese in it anyway. So without Reese in there, last game she went for 13. So I think we're going to see a big number on the boards for her again.
There you go, WNBA expert Gumby Vreeland now. Thanks to Smart Signals. So get your 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, RITHMM, and listen to the WNBA Gambling Podcast.
They're all over those Smart Signals too from the WNBA. They're killing WNBA.
Yes, they are. That's true. Yep. Shout out to those gents. All right, co-main event. They don't call it that, but it is at featherweight. Radley De Silva from Canada. What part of Canada is this gentleman from? He is from... I haven't heard of that place. I've heard of Vancouver. I haven't heard of his gym, Aegis Athletics. So he's from the other side of the country from me, but still, he's repping my country. He's fighting George Mangos. He's from the other side of the world. He's from Australia. 3 5-minute rounds, 145. Mangos is 7-0. 2 knockouts, 5 submissions. US rounds, sir. He's regional champ. He's 8 years younger than De Silva. De Silva, snake eyes. 7-1. 1 knockout, 3 submissions. He's been submitted once. He's won 7 straight since he dropped his pro debut. 3 straight wins via finish. His pro debut was back in July of 2013. So he has been on for a 12-year win streak here. Multi-region championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. He's fed at 140 and 155 for De Silva.
So I think Mangos is going to be the favorite here. My guess is like the negative 200 range. Despite Da Silva having, some pretty nice wins in there, and being, as I said, MMA Prospects guys, prospect of the year. I do think that the fanfare behind Mangos and having pretty much all of Australia, New Zealand, and the Anzacs behind him is going to make him the favorite here. And I'm going to go with Mangos. The piece for me about Da Silva, a lot of fun sidekicks and spinny stuff, and he'll throw sidekicks, hook kicks. I think he has a wheel kick knockout, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he's really fun on the feet. My biggest issue with him is that a lot of times when he's being fun on the feet, he then shoots a takedown, and his wrestling's not bad. I kind of like his wrestling. I think his jiu-jitsu is not as good as his wrestling, though. And that really comes into play when we're talking about, like, his ability to hold somebody down, his ability to put them in trouble on the ground, his ability to ground and pound while he's holding a position. Like, he just doesn't do that as well. Like, it's more like he takes them down and it's mostly perfunctory. And, like, then on top of that, too, is he, like, even going to do that in a Dana White's Contender Series fight? I don't know. And then for me with Mangos is like much, much, much more patient looking. It seems like he is like maybe too patient at times, but then when he lets go with the combination, first of all, his hands are blisteringly fast. Like, he is so quick with his hands, and his combinations are always like, he doesn't just throw a 1-2. It's like a 3-4 punch combination every time. It's kind of overwhelming, and then he gets out of range. Smart defense, super patient again. Just because he landed big on those 4 punches doesn't mean he's coming with 4 more right away. He's going to draw that out of you. So I really like the intelligence of Mangos on the feet. And then the other piece I like too is, like, Mangos is probably not the wrestler Da Silva is. Like, Da Silva probably could out wrestle him if he wanted to, but Mangos is really good at jiu-jitsu. And like I said before, that seems to be Da Silva's, problem area. If you look at all of Mangos's early points, he fought for Hex and some of those other places in Australia. You look at all of his early fights and, like, he's winning by submission in almost every single one of them early on. And, like, yeah, he's gotten a little bit away from that, but, like, his submission skills are still in there. So if, like, Da Silva wants to dance that way because that's how he sees it going, that's fine. Because I think Mangos will take care of him on the mat. So on the feet, I think you're going to see some funny stuff from Da Silva where he's throwing hook kicks and stuff like that. You're going to see a very patient Mangos, and then when he gets the counter opportunities, he's really going to light him up. So give me George Mangos.
Naturally, doesn't pick the Canadian. That's the way it goes. Give me a number, Gumby.
I said negative 200.
Oh, did you? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Minus 200 it is. Hopefully you get it for better than that. Main event. Ilian Bouafia. He is from France. Neemias Santana from Brazil. They're at 185 naturally because they're in the main event. Santana 7-2-1, 6 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been submitted once. He pretty much owes his rounds still, though. He's won 2 straight and gone 3-1-1 over his last 5. Both of his past wins via TKO. He's not lost since May 2022. He's fought at 155 and 170, 2015 Pro MMA debut. Bouafia, the Gorilla, 6-0 with 5 knockouts. He's fought at 205, 3 inches taller than Santana.
So for this one, I think Bouafia, we're going to say like negative 300 on Bouafia. He's got the better record. He's fought for Aries. Santana, on the other hand, what he's fight for SFT, I believe is the organization.
Nothing I've heard of really.
He's coming from. So I think big favorite on Bouafia, and I'm going to close this with a massive underdog. I'm taking Neemias Santana. And here's why. Bouafia is probably a better striker. He's super long. He throws like a nice long 1-2. He's like a weird shape to have to fight at middleweight. But if you watch his last fight with, what was it? Bagai, Paul, it's like Paulie Bagai, which was in Aries. He gets backed up to the cage a lot. He gets held against the cage a lot. And then like his way of getting away from that is like try a judo throw, which like, I don't know, like probably not high percentage, right? Is to like judo throw your way out of the clinch. But meanwhile, he's backing up a lot and he's fighting a lot off of his back foot and he's trying to land counters and like, he's all right at landing counters. They're not bad. But like, that's not the way you want a long guy to fight. Santana, on the other hand, has almost no technique to speak of, but man, is he just like an absolute violence monster. Like he's wild as all hell, and he hits so hard, and he hits so hard in every instance. Coming forward with you against the cage in the middle of the ring, he knocked the guy out he fought last from guard. he was just in guard. He dropped one punch and the guy was out. And I'm like, this guy's power comes, it doesn't seem like he's even throwing that hard sometimes. And you're like, my God, he just turns people's lights out constantly. So if you got a guy who's going to back up and be looking for counters and being complacent and being on the back foot, I don't want that guy against a guy like Neemias Santana. Neemias Santana is the perfect way to be a guy who fights like Ilian and Bouafia. So if we can get 2-1 odds here, if this comes in at even money, I will say probably don't play Santana. And the reason just being is like, look, he throws wild and nuts, and like, I don't ultimately think he's all that good, but I do think the power is enough that if he comes in here 2-1 or better, he's definitely worth a swing. So I'm going to go Neemias Santana.
All right. Let's go for it. Sounds like a guy Dana White would get behind.
Oh, he's going to, Dana White is going to love Neemias Santana. Like, he might look terrible for 3 minutes, land one of the most vicious knockouts you've ever seen, and Dana White is like, we're going to put him in a main event tomorrow.
Exactly. He hit hard, and he's middleweight. So, all right, let's recap, and we'll get out of here for you. He's got Santana, he's got Mangos, he's got Drago, he's got Drago. God damn it. Drago. He's got Panferov, he's got Susurkaev. All right, you're all set. As soon as this episode drops, I'm sure the odds will drop as well. But when they do, you can hop in the Discord and discuss them with us if you like. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Of course, YouTube, you can reach us there as well. MMA Gambling Podcast. As long as you subscribe, please and thanks. Or on Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Real, and I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. At Jeff Fox Writer on Instagram as well. You can get into my Substack and enter my free UFC Pick'em contest at moneymma.substack.com. You can listen to more Gumby, less Jeff, no Jeff actually, on Top Turtle. Tell the people who else is on this week.
None is less. But yeah, we got Julius Walker, who's fighting at the UFC Vegas 109 this weekend, and Neve Kinihan, who is fighting at Octagon 74.
So check it out, Top Turtle. Of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We'll be back on Sunday, I guess. Monday?
Yeah,
we'll drop Sunday or Monday. We'll see.
Probably Sunday.
Probably Sunday, because then we'll give it to you fresh, because these events like to change after we record. So probably Sunday. It'll be me, El Tank, Jeff Fox. It'll be the American Polar Bear, Gumby Rhythm. We'll talk to you then.